Hello, dear class members. Welcome back to class. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a crinoline base like this and also how to use your crinoline pipe to create this nice bow right here. So let's get started. So in today's class, I'm going to be showing you how to make a very nice crinoline base, and we're also going to be working with crinoline pipes. I'm sure you must have seen pipes and you're wondering, what kind of design can I use these crinoline pipes to make? So here are the items that you need to make a very nice fascinator, or this nice fascinator. This is just one out of the many techniques that you can um, use crinoline to make. If you have not seen them, please check my other video tutorials. You'll see what I use crinoline to make as well. But for this particular design, we're going to keep it really simple, and it's a design that can be used by brides. It can also be used by anybody who wants to just stand out whenever they step out in their nice outfits. So what you need is crinoline tubes or tubular crinoline, 6 inches crinoline. 1 yard is okay for this one. Even this one to 1 yard is also okay. And this is quite affordable. You can get to the market and start to make this almost immediately. But you need to get your 0.90 mm copper wire, because I'm going to be creating a nice bow with this particular tube crinoline. And you're also going to be needing Alice band. However, you can use elastic, but let's see what I'm going to be using at the end of the day. I will show you what I'm going to be using as my band, either elastic band or Alice band. But first, let's go into creating these pieces before we put them together. All right, so the first thing you want to do is to cut out your crinoline length to be 32 inches. What I have here is 32 inches, but you can make yours longer. You can make it 36 inches, depending on how big you want your base to be. But this is 32 inches right here. Oh, okay, it's actually 31. So this is 31 inches. And then for you to achieve a nice finishing, don't say it's just crinoline, does it require ironing? If you can, please iron it flat. It contributes to the finishing of your work. It will make it look really nice. So you press it down flat. You can see the difference between this part and this part that is puffing up. So you iron it down really flat and then move on to the next part. This process is the simplest. Can I say simplest? It's actually a simple design because I don't know your capacity. So I may say it is simple, but when you start making it, you may find it a little bit difficult. But just follow my process and you understand what I'm trying to do. So next thing is to check out this thread right here. You see this thread, it comes with every crinoline, this particular thread here, and is intentional. The reason is so that you can gather it and pull this together to create a gather. So I'm going to fold the crinoline, place the edges together, pick the thread, and then I pull. Ensure that you hold the thread really tightly and then you pull slowly and then you start to gather. So when you gather, please don't pull it forcefully, because once your thread cuts off, then you have to use your hand needle to do this part. But there's this effect, this gathering effect that this particular thread gives you. And this is it right here. You see, it's quite different from when you use your needle and thread to gather. So when you hold this in place, you pick, just consider like it looks like a bell. If yours is not looking like this, then you are doing something wrong. So you place the edges together and then you gather. And then you use that same thread to bind the gathering together. Simple, right? Yes, it's quite easy. So when you are done, you tie your knot several times until you are sure that what you have tied will not come off. So when you are done, tying the knot, you cut your thread, and then lastly on this part, you're going to reduce the length a little, and then you apply some glue to this part. Ensure that the glue penetrates to the center like this. You leave it to dry, and when it is dried, you're just going to use your fingertips to roll it down so that that place does not fray. Can you see how it looks? Really beautiful. This is not completely dry, but I'm going to move on. You can do that later. So what you're going to do next is to turn this inside out. Turn it inside out, and then this is what you have. Can you see how it looks like? Okay, great. So let's put this aside and let's work with our crinoline tube. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to measure how big I want my bow to be, and that will determine the length of my wire. So I'm going to simulate the measurement, come back and show you before we move on. All right, so moving on, I decided not to use this 0.90 mm wire again, and I'll tell you why. So because I want to make a bow, I noticed that the wire is not very strong. It's flexible actually, but I noticed that the size of the bow that I want to make, the wire will not carry it, like it will be bouncing back and forth. So I'm going to be using millinery wire, the hat wire, the one that you use to wire the brim of your hat. So this is what it looks like. It comes in a roll like this. So I'm going to show you the length that I'm going to be using. But bear in mind that your own does not necessarily have to be like my own size. You can make your size smaller or bigger, but of course, trust this wire is going to hold still. So the length of my wire is 22, 21. Let me measure it just to be sure. This right here is, oh, 26. How did I forget that? Okay, so 26 inches, and then I'm going to insert this into the tube crinoline. Just watch me as I do this. So I place it inside, ensure that it sits in properly. And mind you, you can get both the crinoline for the base and the tube crinoline in different colors, so you don't have to worry about whether you find your color or not. So at this point, I'm going to apply my UHU glue to the tip right here. Allow it to dry a little, and then I'll bind. Binding simply means I'm tying the tip. You tie it really tightly, and when you are done, you just cut off. You tie a knot, and then you cut the remaining thread off. Just stay with me. If you are actually used to skipping videos, I don't think you want to skip this one because it is important that you understand the process from start to finish. So I'm done here. I'm going to pull this. Can you see how I'm stretching the crinoline out? This is the original size of the crinoline, but when you stretch it out, it becomes thin and smoother, and that's what you want to achieve. So you cut the other side off, hold it steady, apply your glue, and repeat the process for this part. So now that we are done with this part, just watch me as I form my bow. So I'm going to get like a rectangular shape. Let's see. So if this part to this part is 8 inches, you ensure that this other part too, you bend it on 8 inches. Can you see? Great. And then for this part here, you fold it down. So this is what you're going to have, a rectangular shape. I'm just doing this off of the top of my head. So what I'm going to do next is to bind this part and then bind this part as well. This is what you have. So you're going to fold it in the middle like this, and then you use needle and thread to bind the center part. So look at how it looks like. I need you to follow me. Just follow what I'm doing. You will get it. You don't have to be confused. So the next thing I'm going to do is to wrap this wire with any trimming. If you have any trimming at all, just wrap it with it. Now you see how it looks like. So I'm going to pass it inside like this. Pass it inside this way. And then I'm going to attach this to my Alice band. So you understand what I'm trying to do now. So I want the bow to stand erect. I don't want it to be close to the base, the crinoline base. So first of all, I'm going to open this up. Just open it up if you can stay. So you can see what you are attaching. So you can either attach this bow to the middle, to the side, or to the other side. So I'll use my needle and thread to bind this together. So this is what we have. Can you see? Okay. So when I flip this back down, then the next thing is to glue this down. Just to glue it down a little. So, so when I'm done wrapping this part, then you can flip this down and then apply some glue here. You hold it down till it's dried. Then for the under parts, you can use either something like this to cover it up neatly, or if you have felt, you can cut it into something round like this to cover it up. So I think this looks better. The round one looks better.